So today's webinar is all about worker management and how you should be using the system to manage those different processes. Now, actually, I do have this if I go step one, getting started. Step one, getting started is all about setting up a person's qualifications relating to the position register and so forth in the qualification matrix, literally doing a training needs analysis. Because at the end of the day, you do not want a worker undertaking a role who is not qualified to undertake that role. So if something does happen, well, it's going to be a lot of trouble, that's for sure. So as you know, employee registers just here. You can select a helper to add an employee, but your top right hand corner, there's an employee. Let's just come down. We'll select Michael's name because we're logged in as Michael at the moment. So you've got your, you can relate a person to every single site by relating what's called the person to the global site. Yes, that's Global Safety Systems because that's our company name, but usually the global site is the company in red, and that normally is your company name. Now you can enter multi-sites inside the system, but if you relate an employee inside the system to the global site, that means that they're going to be related to every single site. So what I mean by that, I should have brought up that up, sorry about that, is that if I'm an employee and I'm related to this site here, I'm seen in every single site, but I can see all the data from every single site. So that's when you actually select this icon here to say that you're a global admin or you relate this person to a global site. You're looking at that person's related to every single site. Now, if I actually just related that person to that site, I can relate the person to multi-sites. So that person there is related to those 3 sites. That means that the person on this chart would be down here and related to that site and that site, for an example. So they would not see any data related to these 2 sites. They'd only see data related to this site, and this site. Previously in the old system, they would actually log into the system and see the site register and have to bounce between one site and the other. In the new system, you don't have to do that. So it's literally, if you log into log in with your permission level and you're related to 3 sites, this site here will have all 3 sites data inside that site. So it's now relating people to a multi-sites is a very good feature, but you don't have to relate everyone to a site, depending on what you want to do. So this global, anyone related to what's called the site in red or your global site, which is the top site at the top, really is only people like yourself who are the people managing the system or the upper management of the company that you want to see all the data. So this is very important because everything revolves around the site. The whole system structure revolves around what you select in this field. So if you say, for an example, if an employee logs into the system and they go, oh, I can't see such and such plant items in my register. Well, the reason why is because that person hasn't been related to that site. So you're looking at, if you want the person to see everything, relate them to the global site. Depending on what kind of company you are, depending on what structure you are, if you've got many sites and you're got sites right across Australia, yeah, you would make each site exclusive and you wouldn't relate a person to the global site. You just relate them to an individual site. So if you've got a company that you've got a person that looks after maybe a couple of states or a couple of sites, you can actually, relate them more than one site. But you have to select a site. Someone has to be related somewhere. That's why it's a mandatory field. So but highly recommend that you only relate people that you want to be seen in every single site to what's called the global site, which is the site in red, usually your company name. So you can upload an image. Just be careful of the size of the image. So a lot of clients have gone, oh, the image hasn't come out well. Yeah, the reason being is that you've actually uploaded an image which is like 40 megabytes. So a good idea, if you actually get a product called like Snagit, and I highly recommend this product. It's only $70, one-off fee, and what you can actually do is you can edit the size of the image and crop it, and then it's actually a better fit. So yes, it's like say Paint or something like that in Word, all those different things. But I mean, Snagit's a really good product. So enter the first name and last name. All these fields are mandatory fields. So yes, you've got your global manager and employee. So really at the end of the day, the person who's a global admin should only really be this. Anyone underneath that level should just be a management permission level. You can have management permission level all the way down to the bottom, but would you? No. You'd actually just, say for an example, have a global admin, management permission level, maybe this level here as well, and then underneath that, or this level here, would be employee permission level. You might even have this as global and then just have management permission level underneath that if you're a single site. So you can relate a person to a position. Now, ages ago, this used to be really a nothing field, but it is something special now. And because this links into the position register, and we're going to go to that register after we do this, go through this form here, and you'll see that basically at the end of the day, you can assign certain qualifications and certain inductions to a position. And if Michael Fulcher is related to a certain position, it will actually pick up all those inductions and qualifications you've assigned to that position, and it will create a training needs analysis both in your qualification matrix and your induction matrix. So this field now is a very important field. If you go through the helper at how to add an employee, it will take you step by step and highlight that again. So full-time, part-time, the only difference between these will all go in the same register, but if you actually select volunteer, it will go into the volunteer register. These people, when you select volunteer, will not be seen in your employee register. So just remember that one. You can select a supervisor. I highly recommend that you do. So it's you don't have to enter salaries and all that kind of stuff for personal reason. We have a unique student identifier number, and you can put that in there, and you'll see that later on that's going to become quite a big field, because a lot of clients are requesting that kind of field to identify that person. You have a job start date and job end date. Are they mandatory? No, they're not mandatory. Why are they there? Well, I had one client a while ago, actually, they had an employee contact them after a couple of years and said they had an incident at their site many, many moons ago. Well, they rang me up and said, Phil, I forgot to enter the job start date, so I wasn't quite sure if the actual employee was working at that stage, but I don't think he was. Yes, should have been on the payroll system, maybe, but it wasn't. They didn't record it. So we looked up in the database when that employee was entered, and we found out that they weren't working at that stage there. But it is a good idea to have that field entered, and also if they do leave, enter this as well, just for your own records. So you can have the phone number, mobile number. This site map at the moment is just there like that, but you'll see this new feature coming into the system once I've got these other little features going into the system, that it's automatically going to create a site map like this. So you'll be able to print out a site map like this in the future, and you'll be able to move that site around and all these different things, but it'll actually highlight all the people in that site. It's going to be a great little feature. We've already actually got it all mapped out, and we've already worked out how it's going to work. So, but at the moment, nothing feature at the moment, but there for the future. Date of birth, highly recommend that you actually fill that in as well. Yep, you've got your gender types. We are changing marital status to relationship status from numerous kind of requests from clients who don't like the word marital status. So we're changing that to relationship status. You'll see that literally come into the system in the next week or so. You can enter all their emergency contact details, but here's the feature that's a big feature in this section here. So you can add qualifications by selecting this green icon. When you first get your system, obviously this is all blank unless you filled out the starter kit, and qualifications from what's entered in starter kit will be here. But you can add to this list here by selecting that green button. So you can delete from this list by selecting this. You can select edit to actually, if you've spelt the name wrong, by selecting this edit icon. But you create your own list here, and then you can relate an employee by that list. You have an alert date and expiry date. So you can actually enter those in there, and you can upload a certificate into the system and enter an ID card or number, whatever it may be. please note when you're uploading this image, if it's a scanned document, make sure that you open up that scanned document and save it as a PDF, even though it says it's a PDF, but it's not, it's an attachment. And the system won't allow it because it will think that someone's uploading a virus. So if you find that the document doesn't upload or doesn't download, the reason being is because it's a scanned document and you haven't resaved it as an attachment. Also, just make sure the size of it. We've had some clients go, oh, I couldn't upload it, but they've tried to upload a 25 megabyte document and so forth. So yes, you can upload to 20 megabytes, but try to keep your documents as low as possible if you can. So it's so you can upload that there, and you can enter as many qualifications as you wish by hitting the add qualification button. Yes, you can get rid of them by doing this here, and you can download the certificate by selecting this one here as well. That's the document that you uploaded there. You can have a person's email address. Please make sure that the email address is correct. So we've had so many people go, I haven't received an email alert from this thing process there, but their email address was spelt wrong. So just double check and do that if you can. So then you can select update. So when that actually goes in like that, when you complete that, obviously it will go into the employee register. Now there's lots of different things in this employee register. If I select view, you can add a note to that employee. I had a recent client say, oh, I wanted to add certain things to this employee. Where do I do that? So you could actually add a note here and again, upload an attachment. If it is a scanned document, again, make sure you scan it, save it as a PDF, then upload it. But you can make notes and submit. And that's kept in the employee's history, but you've got view history here. So that would be kept in the person's notes. But this is all incidents, hazards relating to that employee. The inductions, this is every single induction the employee has done. You can even select on the induction to see what they answered right or wrong. I'll update WalkMe to make that highlight. Okay. But you can generate this in a PDF to sit down with the employee if they've got it wrong to say, hey, by the way, this is what you need to do. You've got qualifications. Some of these other ones are coming. Yeah, we're going to be updating these, the meeting and so forth. But the checklist one is a really good feature, and I'll just turn that person on mute. So so the checklist feature here. So if a person is undertaking a checklist and you've related that checklist to that person, or they've logged in under their username and password, or you've opened the employee field and they've completed it, it'll actually go here. So so you're looking at, it's a great way for you to actually keep a record of certain things that you want for that employee. So this history field is always going to be updated constantly as the system moves forward. But let's go, say, for example, to the position field. As mentioned, that every employee is related to a position. Previously, this was a nothing field years ago when I first designed the system, but then I thought, I had a goal of actually creating this so it automatically would create a training needs analysis. So if I just select edit next to operations manager, this is all the inductions that are in the induction register or builder. These are all the qualifications that's been entered into the system as per what we just did then when we're entering an employee. Again, you can add, edit, delete qualifications in there, and it will also go, if you add a qualification there, it will also, when you enter an employee, put it in that list. So they're all interconnected. But I can select certain qualifications needed for this position, as well as any kind of inductions or training requirements needed for this position. This interlinks with lots of different things. If I go to the qualification matrix, it mainly interlinks with this matrix. The reason why this is yellow, it's saying that a GSHA doesn't have certificate, whatever it may be, that has been assigned to that position. So if you see this yellow icon, that means that you've gone to the position section, you've selected certain qualifications needed for this position. This employee has been related to that position and they don't have it in the system. So you can either do two things. You can go to a teacher and say, hey, by the way, can you supply me with your certificate, da, 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 or you take it and change it. If she doesn't have that there, either get her to undertake that qualification. In the meantime, you definitely take her off that position so she's not undertaking a role while she's not qualified. You can also publish this register in a variety of reports. You can even do a training needs analysis and print that out. So at the moment, I'm updating a lot of these export sheets to give you more information. I'll give an example of that, and you'll see this next week. When you publish this register here, at the moment it publishes out minimal stuff. But next week, you'll see that it will publish out literally every single one of these fields inside an Excel spreadsheet. So a lot of people have gone, yeah, we actually use this more than just a safety system. We use it to manage all different facets of their employees. So you'll be able to do that. Now, you're looking at the qualifications and positions also relates to the plant and equipment register. And I'm not sure that you knew this. So if I select edit next to this here, these again are all my inductions and training in my induction register, and these are all the qualifications have been entered. I can select that this machine needs to have certain qualifications and training requirements to use it. And what it does, it marries up all your matrices to actually highlight the people qualified, and it'll basically be employees qualified here, and I'll list them if anyone's qualified in the system that meet all the criteria that you have selected. So not a bad feature. I mean, this QR code, we'll go over that in a future webinar, but probably, arguably becoming one of the most popular QR codes in the system. Let's go to the induction section and how you should be using this. If I go to the induction builder, so you can select add induction. You can relate induction to a site, position, external course. External course is if, say for an example, if your employees are going on to, say, a Coles or Woolworths site and they need to do that external induction, you would actually use that there to put a due date and all those different things, and they can upload this certificate that's given to them on that external course. If you want more information on that, please book yourself in for another Zoom meeting and I will go over that in a bit more detail. But you can relate it to a site. If you're just a normal company, a single site, you relate it to your general site, but you might be doing, you might be a construction company or whatever it might be, and you're doing work at that site, so I highly suggest that you actually relate it to the site. You can relate it to all these things here. Later on, I'll be actually linking that to there, just like the checklist builder, so they'll be able to do induction by the machine QR code or plant equipment QR code, but at the moment it's just there at the moment just for relationships. You can enter the induction name, and then you can actually copy, paste, and put it into this field here. Now, build any induction, you can actually extend that up to, helps if I highlight that. So do that. You could, if you wanted to, even upload your logo underneath that. Put a score of 100%. The reason why this is here, you can allow the person to have 1, 2, or 3 attempts. Now, just say for example, the person you've built an induction, the person's made a silly mistake. So it's a good idea, maybe you probably do 3 attempts max, don't want any more than that. But then if they have failed, then it's going to email alert me that this person's failed that induction attempt, and then I can sit down in consultation as you should. The upload induction kind of thing, it's a kind of old feature, you don't really need that there. Yes, I want to make it public, as I mentioned to some clients. If they've got dangerous equipment, they should actually, this is going to create a QR code. You could stick this on the machine. The person could scan it and they actually bring up a short induction or short little kind of thing on how to use this machine. And it's just a great way for you to show that you've got systems in place. Do you want your employee list in the form? It's only your employees, the answer would be yes. If it's something in the general public, the answer would be no. So, if I come down, say for example now, what you would actually do is select the manage icon. This one I've already done. How about I select the other one that I didn't do? Sorry about that. So I think it must have been this one, yes. All right. So there's a couple of different combinations you can do. You can actually insert a hyperlink here. But if you do, it'll actually ask you, do you want to open up a new tab? And the answer is yes, because it's going to open up the induction in a new tab or wherever you're linking it to. So then when the person can close that, they can come back and do the induction. So you don't want to not select that if you're putting a link to another website there. So just please note that. You can insert a picture. So you can pick up a picture and all that kind of stuff. So what this is doing, this is literally just inserting that, and you can enlarge that to suit. Just make sure that your picture is a JPEG or something that's going to be formatted correctly. And again, just check the size of that format. So it's a good idea to use that Snagit feature again. So let me just get rid of that. But one of the best ones, you can actually copy and paste the URL in here. So as I suggest to a lot of people, if you've got a forklift, for an example, you could go to Safe Work New South Wales because they've got all these videos. So but if I come here, I'm just going to copy that URL. So a lot of your machinery that even if you speak to your suppliers will have a video of some sort, and you're just pasting that in there. That's how easy that is to build your own online e-learning module. And then you can actually build questions to that. Select checkboxes, it's just the neatest. Add options. Make sure you select the correct answer. You can select more than yes and no or whatever it may be. Maybe, don't know, whatever it may be that you want to do. You can add another question to it, especially if it's a video, you would add another question to that. Or you can add another slide depending on what you want to do. But the best thing, if you want to know more information in detail, go to the help section and have a look how to build the induction. That will go over it. So once that's done, you can select update. You would then come to the induction matrix. And I can come down there. I'm going to relate it to Michael Fulcher because we're logged in as Michael. And we're going to come down here and there's that induction there. I'm going to assign. By today's date, you can have a review date. Please note, if it has a review date, if it goes over that review date, it will be seen as a red icon in your system. Some people go, oh, it's a red icon in the system, but my employee's done it. Yeah, but it's over the review date. So if I come down here and I select inductions, and then there it is here, and I can go through here, this induction, and I can complete the induction. You can see the score if the person's done it, save. It's taken it out of that list. And the person goes through there and completes that there. So at the moment, you'll see that we're doing a little bit of an upgrade. This to-do feature, it should be actually in the to-do feature, but lately it hasn't been taking that out. But you'll see that they'll be taking that out of there in the next day or so. So that'll be updated. This to-do feature is getting a big update. So that's, I know it's been a lot of information in 25 minutes because it's a big thing, but I just want to show you some other stuff that's coming into the system and features that you should be using to protect your business, especially in COVID-19 kind of processes. You might have seen this new resource I put in here. Select this auto plan and the system will automatically create a COVID-19 safety plan inside your system. I'm going to be doing a lot more of this stuff in the coming futures with certain things, just because a lot of people, it'll just help you get the most out of your system. So this is going to take you through, you can have a review date for continual improvement. There's a person responsible, submit. Congratulations, you've done that. So as I mentioned there, the best thing for you to do is select view and then go through this safety plan. Just if it's not applicable, select not applicable, but you should have this in place because it's going to highlight that you're going to do. Other stuff related to COVID-19, if you come to the help section, you'll see this COVID-19 section in here. Yes, I've got some articles and things in here, how to protect your business. I've written an article on how you should use online WHS to do that. There's also a video inside the system. But come here to the Safe Work Australia website. It's the best website. They update this literally every day. Come here, print out these signage and posters. They're available for free on these sites. Put them around your facility. Follow what's going on. If someone says, do you know the latest that's going on with COVID-19? Yes, I've got the information here because our system links to that. Now, in saying that, one of the other things you should be doing is monitoring people coming on and off your sites. And this is where this feature is going to be in everyone's system mid next week. So it's going to be at no extra charge. Previously, we were going to have a sign-in feature and it was going to be extra charge, but with the COVID-19 process and everything that's been going on, I've created this feature and I'm putting it in everyone's system because it's going to help my clients manage their responsibility related to COVID-19. You'll see that you'll need to actually record people coming on your site and off your site, but also time and date people coming on your site, and also to ask them, say, COVID questions to say, hey, have you been to overseas? Have you been to a COVID hotspot? You know, have you got a high temperature? All the basic fundamentals. So what will actually happen inside your system? So everything's going to work very similar, and you'll have a tutorial to WHS to help you with this. But if I select view next to here, you'll see that there'll be a QR code here for this site. You can open up your laptop and put it on there and do that, but you can print out that QR code, just like you do, like if you're building your checklist and all those other features. So when you print out that QR code, you can put it at the front of each of your sites, or you can actually open up that site section and actually put that at the front of your site. When a person scans that QR code, when they scan the QR code, they'll be asked to enter their mobile phone number. 99% of people have got a mobile phone number. If they don't, then it'll actually say don't have a phone number, then they can enter their details. But most of the time they'll scan a QR code. When they open that up, they'll be asked to enter their mobile phone number. They enter their mobile phone number. If they haven't registered previously, it will actually ask them and get them to register. Then after that, it'll take them to the COVID-19 questions where they can answer that, and it's stored in the database. If they've been there previously, it'll go, welcome Phil Bamford, and then it'll ask me the COVID questions. I can answer the questions and it'll go into the database. So people now can sign in instead of that little paper book that you got at the front of your desk, which is not COVID safety yet, it's safe anyway. Now they can scan a QR code. You don't even need a QR code reader because you can actually open up and use your mobile's camera, just open up your camera and point it at it, and it'll open up the field. So we'll actually have that in the section there. Please open up your camera off your mobile phone and point it at this to open up this thing. So we'll actually do that. You won't even have to tell that person that. So it'll actually educate the person how to scan that QR code and what to do. Bit about this, it'll go into a little database for you, and if someone does actually contract COVID-19, if you get notified, you can actually then send out a email or SMS to all these people to say, hey, by the way, you need to go get COVID tested, so forth. But it's just going to keep that database that you're actually, what the government's requiring a lot of people to actually do, depending on which state you're in, and just to make it as easy as possible, signing in and signing out. Stage 1 is coming in next week. Then what I'm going to be doing is updating that, because as I do, I like linking everything throughout the system to each other. So you'll be able to link that to a checklist, or you'll be able to link that to an induction that you've created, as well as those COVID questions. At the moment, the COVID questions will be set, but you'll also in stage 2 be able to edit it and actually change them around. So stage 1 is actually just getting you the basic fundamentals to help protect your business, and also with the regulations relating to COVID. And then in the coming couple of weeks, you'll see that there'll be a couple of big upgrades as well. Now you'll see that the color coding in the system has been updated, so that's all working effectively now. There's a couple of little kind of things that we're just fixing up. One of those being the to-do builder. You'll see that that's going to have a big change in the coming days. So and then that'll be all up to date, and things are looking good. So yes, I know I talked 100 miles an hour then. So like I normally do. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to send me an email. So and I will get back to you. Or if you wanted a more one-on-one kind of personal kind of attention, more than happy to do that. If you just come here, say for an example, We've got a new COVID section on our system as well. But come in here, just book in a training session. That's the best way for you to do it. That's my diary on that training session. You can book in a half-hour slot. It might be you do one session, whatever it may be that you want to do to learn a specific thing that you might not be using as much as you should. It's also a good idea, say for an example, I've got these new training courses inside here to watch these and to go over all the stuff. I'm constantly adding to these here. You would have seen I do actually put a pop-up box if something is new, just like I'll be doing next week when the new sign-on site feature comes into the system. But constantly trying to update the system to keep it up to date with what's going on out there in the environment, which is at the moment a pretty scary place. So, but thank you very much for attending. I hope you enjoyed that. I actually hope you picked out a lot of information out of that tutorial. I know we've gone over a lot in 30 minutes. It's actually been quite a long session, but if you need more information, please don't hesitate to ask. Thank you very much, and keep safe.